Welcome to Mick and the Psychic, where we leave no stone unturned as we explore all things outside the apparent physical realm.
There is no intent to teach or make you believe or disbelieve anything. It is just a safe space to listen and explore with us.
So for this next episode, you have permission to open your heart and mind as you join myself and Xavier on this deep dive into the unknown.
And when you calculate and you come out in a significant area with that combination, we call that a karmic debt. It gives us a little story into some past life stuff.
So today we have Michele Scott, and she's here to talk to us about numbers. Now, if you've seen season 1, you will know that Scotty isn't indeed our accountant. She's actually a numerologist. All right. So it's going to be a fun chat about numbers. She's also your founder of our wellness community and our wellness school, which pretty much unites seekers with healers through courses, through information. You've got an amazing Facebook page, Facebook group with all of that. There's courses, there's publications. You've got the journal, which I think the amazing optimistic Xavier is in.
The first one, yes, and there's a new one out now, which is very exciting.
Wonderful. So all sorts of little goodies there as well. Michele also has a radio show on Casey Radio, Wellness Conversations, and I think you had an amazing conversation with someone one day about altered states of consciousness.
Which way
Great to get wonderful experts in.
Who could that have been?
But welcome to the show to talk numbers again, Michele Scott. Scotty, welcome back to the show.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. How exciting.
It is exciting. It is exciting. We did get to go into numbers a bit. I've got some questions around numerology that I think a lot of people ask, but also that I'm interested in as well. So we're going to I'm going to hit you with some questions as well. So hopefully you can help with that.
Hopefully I can answer them.
You know, I'm not here. He's like, I'm interested and I'm going to hit you with some questions.
Yeah,
I'll just sit here and look pretty.
What do you
can jump in.
You're psychic. You're
that's right. The psychic. She already knows.
Yeah,
she knows.
I'm joking. I already know. It's all good. Just teasing. Just sounded like it was a one-man show just then for a second.
It is. Welcome to Nick.
He's the only man.
Yeah.
True.
That's it.
Yes,
you know what? I feel like
cute.
I'm still not the alpha male of the show, and I'm the only one.
And you're the only male.
I don't know how that works.
Oh,
Bless.
no. He is.
New age, baby.
We're excited.
Yeah.
And we remember we were talking last season about Elon Musk as a curiosity and like some like famous kind of numbers and stuff. But like you don't have to start with that because I know you had a look at his numbers and had to do a bit of homework because lots of people know who he is. And so it's interesting to see how if the numbers line up with
you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's exciting.
Oh, cool. Looking forward to that. So did you want to start with one of your questions, Michael?
No, start with that. You interested?
Start with that. Well, actually, what Michael had said in last season, in the first time I appeared on the show, was what about symbols?
Yes.
Because Elon Musk's son's name is symbols. And actually that was so exciting, so interesting. I went off and did I did a little bit around that and guess what? There actually is an alpha, I'm going to say alphabetical because I don't know what it's called, but there is a symbolic kind of alphabet. And certainly that could be that could be done. But then of course, as I said to Xavier, we don't know his son. So I could say anything. The report could say anything, and we wouldn't really have anything to compare it to. But of course, Elon,
we'll have
we've got the future.
Yeah, true. You could get an insight into what's coming up. Yeah.
Well, I've done that. Of course, I did that with my son, and I'm happy to say, good, bad, otherwise, spot on. I've done that with my son. I did it with my friend's twins.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they were twins born on the same day, right? They would have the same life path number, but of course different names. So personality would be different, But I did do it with their life path number. They both had 4s, and I had a sense of the directions they would go in. I kind of figured one would be really sort of on the straight and narrow. The other might go because every number has a positive, a negative, and a just right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. And when it's your life path, it's what you're here to learn. So we're not going to master that until we get along a little bit. And so I did actually think that. I thought, one will be really fastidious as the 4 can be, and one will be the opposite of that and be more like a 5, sort of scattered and a bit of a rebel. And honestly, true. And she just told me last week, like, 4s are very law abiding. So guess where her son's going? Not into the police force, but the other one.
The army.
The army.
Right.
Oh, the army.
Wow.
I also did it with a friend, a couple. I looked at their they were tight as, they were absolutely soul partners, if you like. I mean, I envied their relationship for many years. But one day I did, because she's into this stuff, I did her profile, his profile, and what struck me, because it's always about what stands out, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so many parts to all of it. Even Xavier, with your work, you'll know that you can't give everybody everything. That there's always something then that kind of you need to hear now, or you need to. And what struck me was their maturity number. Now, the maturity number is the second life path number. At maturity, a new energy, or not, but certainly the lesson comes in. It could be different, it could be the same. And for the two of them, the maturity number, his was a 7. And hers was a 1. And what I sort of, how I interpreted and intuited that was she's going to get more dominant, stronger as she gets older, and he's going to go in, because the 7 is very, very much the introvert, very much the inner journey. He's going to be come across as maybe a bit distant, a bit aloof. He's going to have some inner journeys there. And I kind of thought, I sort of had a thing, if they don't sort of grow together with that, they'll separate. And they separated for a completely different reason, but they separated, and she has become much more like a 1, where she never used to be. And of course, Elon, tons of 1s.
Okay. Yeah. Talk to me about
tons of 1s.
Tons of 1s. Yeah. Right. So I'll start with my walk. I was walking the dog this morning, thinking about, I hadn't done his numbers yet. I took the dog for a walk first, because I thought she'll become a very grizzly husky if she doesn't have that walk before I do the interview. So my thoughts when I was walking, I was thinking about Elon, his numbers. I thought, I wonder what I'm going to see in there. And actually what occurred to me immediately was 16. I thought, you know what, I'm going to see, given his maybe I'm going to say inability to sort of stay in a relationship. There's a lot of catastrophes. He's had a lot of stops and starts. I thought, I'm definitely going to see the karmic debt of 16-7 or 14-5. And then, of course, I thought I'm definitely going to see a lot of 1s. And voila, his life path is a 16-7.
You must know your stuff or something.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God. And of course, 16-7's perfect, because 14-5 is out, and it is what you see is what you get. Whereas 16-7 indicates there's a lot behind the scenes.
I was just going to say,
now, can I explain really quickly what you're talking? Because you're talking numerology talk, and I'm proud that I know what the hell you're talking about.
16-7, 14-5.
Yeah, so a 16-7 means whatever the number calculates to at the end is 16.
Yes.
And it can't be 16. So you have to then add those up. So 6 + 1 = 7. So a 16-7 is different to, say,
just a 7.
Yeah.
Just a 7. Right. Exactly.
Just a 7 or something else. So when you say
a 2-5,
7, what's the significance then of those? Like, I don't know do you call them precursor numbers or something?
Yeah.
What's the significance of that? Because now you're getting like really fine tuning. It's not just.
I know, because I've just assumed. I've assumed that everyone's listening here will have heard our beautiful intro. But that's exactly right. Thanks for bringing me back to the start there. That in numerology, we always add the numbers together until we're left with 1 digit. Whether we are calculating your birth date or with your, as I said. The birth date's going to give me insight into life cycles, and your name at birth gives me insight into your personality.
Right.
And with the name, we're going to allocate a number to every letter. So again, we're always calculating those numbers. So we're always going to bring it back to 1 digit, unless it's a master number, which is 11 and 22 traditionally. Of course, like everything else about life, others have come along and thrown some new things in there. So I know Dan Millman will also talk about 33 and 44. Maybe he even talks about 55. But honestly, it's not traditional.
It's kind of like
numerology.
gone angel numberly, like number.
Then it starts to get
exactly numberly.
Numberly?
Angel numberly. That's
angel numbers.
So
you know, so it's like anything. I feel like all of us take what we learn and we all create from there, and that's okay. But traditionally, it's 11 and 22 are the master numbers, and sometimes 33. Yep. But I definitely don't read above that.
Yep.
And then we have in numerology, we also have 4 combinations of numbers, and when you calculate and you come out at in a significant area with that combination, we call that a karmic debt. It's significant in that when it's a karmic debt, then you can't hear that, can you?
Nope.
No.
Good.
So when it's I can't hear your karmic debt right now. That's fine.
Sorry, my lawnmower guy. So when it's a karmic debt, what's exciting about that is that it gives us a little story into some past life stuff. So it indicates that so there's 4 of them. We've got the 13-4, so 1, 3 equals 4, but we leave it, if that's in a significant part of your profile, I'm not going to talk about it as a 4, which I would if it was your personal year number. Okay. Or right. But yeah, if it's significant, and the core numbers in numerology are your life path numbers, your birth date number, your heart's desire, your personality, your expression, and your maturity number. Right.
We love interviewing experts from different fields about all things outside the apparent physical realm.
And the one constant is these phenomena are transmitted through energy.
So we sought out and teamed up with Subtle Energy Science
to bring you, our listeners,
energetic encoded technology you can use on your phone, laptop, computer, or tablet,
turning your device into a powerful personal quantum energy tool. Now, we're not the creators, or are we qualified enough to explain it at all, but there is a mind-blowing number of scientific studies available on their website.
We get to try the range ourselves so we can give an honest review. And until the end of April, we've got 20% off The Mystic with promo code MATP-861.
And I love using The Mystic. I love it more than anything else. And I notice it really helps if you want to open up your heart or tune in to a deeper awareness.
Now back to the show.
There's loads of other numbers, but we're not concerned in other areas about that. But if that combination of 13, 4, the twins I talked about a moment ago, what was significant about that and why I knew that they would fluctuate between the balances, because they both were born on the 13th of January.
Okay, right.
So they had a birth date of 13-4. So I knew it was going to show up somehow. 13-4, we've got 14-5, so 1, 4 equal 5. If you're just a 5, you're not going to experience the same journey as a 14-5, 16-7, and 19-1. So there's a story, and when you tell the story, what's interesting about the story, my son's got the 19-1. What's interesting about the story is that the individual will go, oh, is that why I've struggled in that area with that particular thing? Is that why I'm always, because when it's a karmic debt, the individual is always going to fluctuate on the over or the under or the over balance of the energy, and has to work their way back to the balance. And they can only do that if they kind of, the story is always going to be, because numerology, remember that numerology is giving us insight not into what the personality needs, wants, deserves, desires, like nothing to do with the personality. Numerology is soul, what the soul has come here to learn, how the soul has come to evolve. Right. What has the soul come to put right that didn't do right in a previous lifetime? It's deeper. So that story, when we tell the story, in that story, it's about not repeating those same patterns of behavior in this lifetime, in order to evolve, not materially, not with all the nonsense that we carry on about in this lifetime. It's at a soul level. So maybe you struggle your whole life, but you are evolving on a soul level if you're doing some of the things that your numerology is set up, your soul is set up for you to do. And this is what I love about it. I love that, like Elon Musk, we can take this he's not random, I suppose we all know him.
We're all random people. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're all random, aren't we? We don't know. Like, I don't know. But I tell you, I thought, my God, he's going to have, because I don't know him well, but I actually do know him. I realize I actually know him a little bit better than I thought I did.
Okay, yeah.
And I recall that let me just say this, with the 16-7, there's always adultery. Right. There's always adultery. There's always that temptation of adultery, because that's the story. In a previous lifetime, if you've got a 16-7 in the core, the individual committed adultery. And in this lifetime, that will come towards them, whether they partake or whether they attract it. There's going to be issues with trust.
There's partners all over the world now just going, I've got
to work this out.
Looking up the numbers. And this is their birthday one, is it?
For him, right?
Yeah,
so it could be. So your life path is the journey, right? It's what I've set up. It's the path I've set up, and what's great about your life path when you know it, and also with life cycles. So in numerology, life cycles are the life path number, your personal year. Every year there's a new cycle. You've got your pinnacle cycle. There's also period cycles. What's great about knowing your cycle is that the path is set up for you to do a particular thing, and you don't have to work at it. So for him, let's just focus on that 7. So 7 is actually a beautiful number, but of course 7, fine mind, analytical, intelligent, deep thinker, right?
Okay.
So it's what you've come to learn, experience, everything that enables you to do that comes towards you, the people, the learning, the opportunities, anything and everything that needs to get you along. It doesn't always mean that people are going to achieve what they're set up themselves to achieve.
There's the opportunity though, right? The
opportunity is there, and if they're not on it, they're going to be on the journey anyway, but are they expressing the positive or the negative? Right? Okay. So we already know with him that number 7 is that deep thinker.
Yeah.
Now, number 7 is also, this is what's interesting about the 7. The 7 is a student, but also the scientist and also the spiritualist.
Okay.
Yeah. So that kind of gives you, it's interesting that it can be those different things, isn't it? But in actual fact, what it is deep. 7 is a deep thinker. 7 really doesn't want to do anything by halves. 7 wants to know its stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if Mick's got a 7 in there somewhere. He has to have a 7 in there somewhere, right?
Do you remember from last season if you said
Yeah, did I do it?
You may have.
Yeah, I think we just found out like normal. Like I know I'm a 24 6, but I can't, like you just got to add up your birthday.
Oh, right. Yes, for your birthday. But I won't get distracted because it's so easy for me to get distracted.
Yeah, we won't.
This is why you're our favorite accountant.
So you're on path, right? I always say to people when I do their profile, it doesn't matter whether you're negative or positive. If you're on the path, you're on the path. You can't be not on the path when it comes to your life cycles, but you can choose. Your free will is whether I'm going to step up or step off or step away. And I have already forgotten my focus there, but so if we get back to Elon Musk with that 16-7, and as you said before, Mick, so the 1 and the 6 is interesting because the 1 is very much about the individual, right? Yep. So he's got a birth date of 28. I've got some stuff to read out for you too.
Yeah, good.
Because I also do, I love Hans Dekos. He's one of my mentors, renowned numerologist. He's written books, beautiful website for anyone that wants to learn numerology for free at their own pace. He offers everything on there. I've also got his beautiful program, so I can actually do, print some reports, and I actually have that available on my website, so I can actually read some stuff out from the report for Elon, which is just amazing, right? Again, amazing.
By the way, you're welcome, Elon. Yeah. Listening to this show.
Tag you meet everyone's buddies.
Great supporter of the show.
Don't you love it? In fact, well, let me actually, because you'll love this, okay? And it starts off, Elon. So you are welcome, Elon. You are the searcher and seeker of the truth. You have a clear and compelling sense of yourself as a spiritual being, As a result, your life path is devoted to investigations into the unknown and finding the answers to the mysteries of life. Can you believe it?
Wow, I'm not surprised.
You are well equipped to handle your task. You possess a fine mind. You are an analytical thinker capable of great concentration and theoretical insight. You enjoy research and putting the pieces of an intellectual puzzle together.
Great.
I'm sure Elon's listening now going, thanks. I'm just going to go build
spiritual,
a rocket.
So he'll be open to listening to this.
Ooh, right, exactly.
But hold the rocket, Elon.
Yes, but hold that spiritually in mind when we talk about some of his other numbers, because he'll definitely have that struggle there. I believe. Also, your life path gives insight into your first pinnacle and also your achievement. So 7 is also his first pinnacle, and from what little I know of his childhood, he was definitely a loner. Right. So 7s can often feel misunderstood. They can often come across as aloof and distant. And certainly when he was a child, I believe because mum and dad separated, I believe, well, again, I don't know everything, but interesting. I do know more than I thought I knew. I've heard him speak about his dad, and I don't think that was a positive relationship. So I think he spent a lot of time on his own. And that ties in with that pinnacle of first pinnacle of 7. And what I love to teach people in understanding your profile, the beauty of it is that you can understand why you've gone through what you've gone through. Like if you think as a child he was a loner and it was because seemingly on the surface of it, we would feel sorry for someone like that. We would think, oh, his mum and dad, oh, wasn't that terrible? We'd have all of that kind of human sort of attitude and approach. But isn't it great that it worked out that way? Because, and at that soul level, it was set up for him to be on his own, because how else could he have delved deep into all these things that he obviously accumulated in that early part of his life, which led him then to go and do all these other wonderful things, right? So that's what I love about numerology. When I found it and learnt it and I continue to practice it, it takes you deeper than the human level, so you can truly understand why you go through the challenges, the setbacks, the trials and tribulations. So you can't, if you're popular and you're out and about all the time and having the wow of your life, well, where would he have found the time to do that if he'd been that popular, sporty, handsome?
Yeah, he needed to do head down, bum up,
Exactly, exactly, right? And then it gets to, you enjoy your solitude, prefer to work alone. And that's going to bump up against his heart's desire too, right? Because he's got a 2 in the heart's desire, and that means that he actually does like to work with others, right? So this is the other good thing about numerology, that it'll show me the numbers that complement, but it'll show me the numbers that bump up in different parts of your life. So heart's desire is going to give insight into what drives and motivates you, and also relationships and romance, right? Whereas life path is the journey you're on, and then your expression shows me career and business. And those numbers often different and sometimes can conflict, right?
Yeah.
So you're a lone wolf, a person who lives by his own ideas and methods. As a result, close associations are difficult for you to form and keep, especially, drum roll, marriage. You need your space and privacy, which when violated can cause you great frustration and irritation. How about that?
That's interesting. And what I'm feeling when you're talking about that, and how like the heart's desire might be different to what actually works.
Yes.
Is like, yeah, he might want to have to work with others and do things from a heart space and have relationships, but the personality just doesn't like allow for it. For the numbers,
because he's got these conflicting numbers. Exactly.
Trying, so it'd be his biggest one of his lessons. It could
exactly
is trying to how to balance that out. Right.
Exactly.
Ooh.
And also because Xavier, he's got a birth date. His birth date is 28, and then 2 + 8 is 10, and 1 + 0 is 1. So we're going to say, we always say 28. We just go straight to the 1. But him, as you said, Mick. 28, he's going to have a little bit of the 2. He's not going to be just a 1 on its own, or a 19-1, although he does have that as well. But a 1 on its own versus a 1-9 versus a 2-8.
Yes.
Okay. So a 1 is just going to have all the qualities of 1. 1 is, when I talk about the beautiful big journey of life, I always say that 1 is when we learn how to stand up for ourselves. 1 is when we learn how to look after ourselves, step up for ourselves, speak up for ourselves. And if you go through the journey of the numbers from 1 to 9, 9 is where I've learned how to stand up for me, and now I've got to learn how to stand up for others.
So it's like bookended.
Exactly. And it was a beautiful journey. Of course, we're all at different, stages of that journey, but that's how I like to see the beautiful journey, that 1 teaches us how to stand up for ourselves. And by the time we get to 9, we're fully formed and well-developed, and now we can stand up for others. But some of us have more 9s, some of us have more 1s. So 1 on its own is going to be very much about me first. What's in it for me, what about me, and what's good about that, because every number's good, every number's great. What's good about that is and 1 is the 1s are the leaders. 1s pave the difficult path for others. If we didn't have people like Nelson Mandela, who must have had a lot of 1s, because man, you can't do shit like that if you're not a force to be reckoned with.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right. But you can also imagine that if there's too many 1s, then maybe personal relationships are difficult. Maybe you can fight the big causes, but maybe on a personal level, you might be difficult at this, because you'd be quite strong-willed, stubborn. My way, the highway, definitely, if it's not balanced out by some other softer numbers. Whereas Elon, and then 1, 9, 9's going to have a little bit of humanitarian to its drive, to that drive of 1. And then Elon's got the 2 and 8. And so the 2 kind of softens it a little bit, which I would think good as a numerologist. And 8 is very business.
Oh,
right?
wow.
8's going to bring in that business. 8's going to bring in that.
His birthday is the 28th as well.
Ah, there you go. Right. So you're the 281. Beautiful. You're a 28, Mick.
Who's this? Me?
You. Are you 28 or 26?
The date is 26.
This was saying the date.
Oh, the date, 28. Yeah, 228.
It's in there, but it's not the end. Yeah.
There's no 8. There's no 8.
But you've got the 6, Mick, and actually, funnily enough, that's also good for business. But and of course that makes sense with you, because 6 is very much about family and community and the heart, right? So you got 2 soft numbers there with the 2 6. That softens the 8, the power of the 8.
I don't have any. I don't know if I've got any 8.
Yeah, it was my fault. It was his birthday's 26, not 28.
But 2 plus 6 is 8.
Yeah, 2 plus 6 is 8. So you have an 8.
You still have an 8. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Right. Cool.
We'll have to do you separately, I tell you. So getting back to Elon. Now, so that's great with the 28, right? I like that. However, I said the 1 9, right? It's going to have the humanitarian stuff, and then the 2 6, beautiful. But with Elon, he actually has. This is going to be, and only he could answer this, right? Okay. He actually also has, though.
Just put it in the comments, Elon.
He's got, just comment, Elon. Birth date of 28/1. He's got a personality of 19/1. Okay. So also karmic. We'll talk about that in a minute. And where was his other ones? Right. So he's got those 2 1s. But in his, there's another, when we talk personality, in his actual full name at birth, and I'm guessing it's his real name, Elon. Just comment, Elon Reeve Musk. He's only got 1 1. Ooh. So and his challenge number is number 3. So here's going to be the kicker, that although his personality, others see him as that strong leader, although he will be dominant and have that stubborn, assertive, able to push through in all sorts of ways that you need to do to be at the level that he's at. Actually, on an inner level, he would have a strong inner critic, and he would actually be quite insecure. Right? 1 is underbalanced. And then also sometimes I know for myself that when you're underbalanced in 1, that can often sometimes come across as overly confident. You can sometimes be seen as dominant, when in actual fact, sometimes you're actually quite fearful of confrontation, or you don't actually have the, I know when I was younger, I wasn't a great communicator. I didn't have conflict management skills. I didn't know about communication. And the feedback was always, oh, Michele, she's so rude. And I was always so shy and introvert and always doing everything for other people. And then because I didn't know how to say no, and I didn't have great boundaries, when I would get all overwhelmed and I go, bleh, they'd go, oh God, she's so aggressive. So with Elon, I'm like, oh, with those ones in his core, but actually being insecure and having a strong inner critic in his challenge numbers, I thought he might often be misinterpreted.
I'm being shown a bit about, like, to add on to that. Yeah, because of the inner critic, like because of the childhood, and he needed those numbers, blah blah blah, like you said. But
yes,
it's like his love language is words of affirmation, and so
yes,
because he's strong, where he's struggling in relationships is because he comes across as dominant and got his shit together. He's not getting the praise and the genuine compliments from people, because he can't tell the difference between real compliments because he's like famous, or because he's just like the personality part. He's a nice bloke. You can't tell them apart. But it's like they're showing me like a little bit of the spectrum, like a little bit on the spectrum or something. Like
definitely,
having a hard time differentiating. So he doesn't know who's genuine or not, who he can trust all the time, and then he pushes people away. But he needs the positive words of affirmation to give him that confidence boost for the inner critic, but he can't tell if they're real.
Can we give him some love now?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you achieve or do. We love you, Elon. You're a fellow human. You deserve
some
love.
people would not treat him as just an average person.
So many haters.
They can't see past the big personality and what he's done.
Yeah, or they stepping stones.
Or they hate, they think he's evil or doing horrible things. Like I know.
What is that about?
I've got great feelings about him, and I don't think he's on the dark side and all that kind of stuff that some people have thought during certain times.
I'm so sad, by the way. The world, it's cray, isn't it? But awesome. I love what you just said, because and I also relate to that as well. That's so true. And also what I wanted to say is that when you are underbalanced in particular areas in your profile, so the part about numerology that I went on to develop and create my own kind of my own application is the deeper I went into the numbers, what was born out of that, I saw 9 key areas of self, and I saw 9 key areas of life in the breakdown of the personality numbers. And I saw that beautiful journey that I spoke to you about before, that at each when we develop in each of the attributes that the numbers have to offer, we absolutely become all of the things that we need to be to have this beautiful, loving, kind, gorgeous world. Are
you saying that in a sense of with those numbers, are you talking about times that we've come back and being different numbers? Like throughout,
right? Exactly.
The numbers don't change, right?
The numbers don't change?
Yeah, our numbers don't change. So
in this lifetime?
Yeah.
In this lifetime, our numbers don't change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that right?
No, exactly. No, your lifetime. In this lifetime, your numbers won't change. When you get married, or you have a name change, certainly, manifesting any new start for yourself, there'll be a different energy that can come into your life from that moment on. But whenever we do, any traditional numerologist working out your numbers will always get your name at birth. Now, what I'm saying about I'm talking self-development. So we're all at different. When I work out this particular area of your profile, where I say that Elon only has one there, I call it KIT. I call it key indicator traits.
Okay.
I borrowed that from the corporate world.
Love it.
And what will happen is
that sounds very corporate.
I borrowed that from the corporate world, right? Because it gives you insight into strengths, but also where are the gaps? Yes. Where are the gaps in my development? Sure. So this particular, so what I'll do is I'll allocate a number to every letter, and then I'll add them all up. And I'll add up how many ones did this person have, how many twos, how many threes, fours, etc. And then what that's going to give me insight into is that beautiful journey. Okay, you know what? They're really strong in looking after themselves, but they don't have any 9s. So maybe standing up for others isn't something that's going to come naturally. And at some point, they might need to develop that, right? Maybe they've got a lot of 2s. They're very sensitive, very they love to, they're very sensitive, very cooperative. They love to work with others, but maybe not enough 1s. They need to, so I would coach them and develop them with the 1 energy, right? And because, as we know, when everything is balanced, that's when it's going to be working properly. If you've got too many ones, you might have this beautiful sensitivity, care, compassion, and concern for the world, but your anxiety is going to be through the roof if you don't have enough ones that can develop that strong sense of self. If you don't have any 4s and 8s so that you can keep your feet on the ground, right? Yeah. So that's what I mean, Mick, when I say that the beautiful journey from 1 to 9, I look there and I go, how is this person on an inner outer level in these 9 key areas of life? How are they in these different aspects of self? Maybe they're really good with money. Number 8, they've got quite a few 8s. They're very powerful, very empowered, and they know how to manage money. They're very intelligent with money and resources, and they're capable and competent. There's a lot of power there. But what if they don't have any soft numbers? There's no 2s, there's no 6s, right? They might then become too much of a bully. Yes, that's what I mean, that in this lifetime, we've all got strengths, we've all got challenges. Now, getting back to Elon, in that particular area of your profile, if you are underdeveloped in any energy, you're underdeveloped, and you can develop it like myself. You can absolutely, and with your challenge numbers, once you know better, of course you do better. So I know that I'm naturally an insecure person. I'm under my 1 energy. So my natural personality is insecure, easily intimidated, feels inferior, has that self-doubt. It's also a challenge number for me. And what's important to know about that, and it's empowering to know this, because I know that every time I'm about to level up, it's natural for me to feel as if I can't do it, as if I'm not enough. I know this now. Whereas when I didn't know it, it was always such a struggle. It was so debilitating. What's happening? I thought I worked through that. So with Elon, it doesn't matter what he achieves on that outer level if he's not constantly working at that balance of leading and working with others, because he's got a 19-1 in his personality and the story with that. So adultery is something that he needs to avoid in this lifetime. He really has to, have some integrity around all of that. But I did hear, I'm not sure if it's true or not, Elon, please comment, but I did hear that there was talk that he had had a thing with that Amber who was with Johnny. Right. Yeah. Oh. That there had been a little bit of infidelity there. So, and what that means with your karmic debt, if you are going to go down that same path again, then the soul is going to revolt in some way. Something happens. When these big calamities happen to us, it's usually to get us back on track. I'll just read out this little bit about that 16-7, because this is important, right? With the 16-7, which is different to just being a life path 7. With the 16-7, it is a karmic debt, and what you must be careful of, especially with all of Elon's other 1 energy, very easy for him to slip into egotism. Right. So very often those with 16 use their highly intuitive and refined intellect to look down upon others and view the rest of the world as inferior. Mm-hmm. This causes acute alienation and loneliness. And in addition, it invites retribution. For the egotist is humbled more harshly than any other. When the 16 is one of the core numbers, this process of destruction and rebirth is a continual cycle that actually serves to bring you into higher consciousness and closer union with the source of life. And what I'd like to mention there, guys, is that he has actually fallen from grace a couple of times, right? The whole PayPal thing. I know that his first thing was with his brother. They kind of did a online yellow or white pages thing that was quite successful. They sold it. Oh. He then had enough money. I believe he bought into PayPal, right? And he took it to the heights that, and then something happened. There was some kind of clash, and he was ousted. He had no money at one point, right?
Oh, right.
Or not that he had no money, but let's say he only had 20 million, something like that. I'm not going to get any of the details right, but I do know that he walked away. And that's interesting too, because with the Heart's Desire 2 and some other numbers, and when I read out some other things from the DCOS report, he doesn't like confrontation, back to the under in that 1 energy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I believe he just walked away from that PayPal thing. And then, he then went into Tesla. So there's been a couple of moments in his life where he's had that up, boom, right? So that's interesting. So that's the 16-7. The 16-7, having that 16 before the 7 means that it's very important to strike that right balance with the spiritual and the material. And that and we do this. I mean, even I know this from my journey and many others, that yeah, there are those times in your life where you get comfortable and cozy and you think that you've arrived, forgetting that it's a journey. And so when you get into, whenever he gets into that that level of believing his own bullshit, I'm going to say, then there's going to be that 4, because 7, if 7 is your path, then it's very important for you to be pursuing your deeper yearnings and following. It's all about faith. So it's about finding that faith. It doesn't matter how the world evolves. At the end of the day, it is actually only about our relationship with ourselves and others, and integrity and ethics and kindness. And I just haven't seen it written anywhere that if you come here and pillage the world, you're going to evolve as a soul. That just isn't it, is it?
Yeah. No, not to dominate. Dominate is a sign of weakness, if anything.
Yeah, exactly. So what he's brought into the world, and I would love that everyone understood that what he's brought into the world is I won't say specific because it's a hard word to say sometimes, that specific. It's to do exactly what he's come to do. We've all come to do what we've come to do. And if you've come to change the world in the ways, in some of the fabulous ways that he has done, then you've brought in what you need. You've already lined up all the opportunities and people and contacts that are going to help get you there. But you mustn't forget that that's all it is. You're better than anybody else. No one's any better than anybody else. We've all brought in what we need to have in order to do what we've come to do. But his birthday is 28, so this is straight off the page, guys. You possess, Elon, a gift for leadership, but it is employed best through cooperative effort. Right? And that ties into his 19-1. So his personality is 19-1. Others will see him as that, powerful leader. But here's the story, because that's karmic as well. 19-1 in a previous lifetime held a position of great power. However, abused that power, didn't lead with courtesy and cooperation for others. So in this lifetime, again, the individual will be challenged. So
and he's got to learn maybe to overcome it better.
Exactly.
That's exactly how I describe what I've been shown of what happens when we cross over. You assess your life and go, oh, okay, that's what I wanted to learn. I kind of stuffed up there. I'm going to come back and try again, maybe in a different way, see if I can do better.
It's probably not even stuffed up. It's probably something like I didn't get to that.
I didn't get to that point. Let's try again. Maybe I need this soulmate to come in and help me with that lesson at that time, and that might change it. It'd be anything.
Absolutely. I love it. And listen to this paragraph. You are unconventional, idealistic, and independent. Elon, you are extremely ambitious. You possess much self-confidence, but need much encouragement. You have an exceptionally analytical, rational mind, excellent planner, talent for directing and managing groups of people, which ties into his heart's desire. 2 is very much the power behind the scenes, and 2 is the diplomat, right? If you've got 2, if you've got a decent amount of 2s in your profile, then it shows that you, again, we all want peace, without realizing that peace is not something that you get. Peace is something that you instill. Right. So number 2 is the diplomat. When he or she or they are operating in their absolute positive at that optimum level, then they are the diplomats of the world. They go into warring situations and they are able to instill peace, peaceful negotiations, to cooperate, to negotiate, to bring everything together so that everyone gets a little bit of what they want, and we can all work together peacefully, which of course is, sorely missing from the world at the moment. We don't want, there doesn't seem to be a lot of cooperation, and and I don't know how we can survive as a community or a race if we're not cooperating with each other.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah. I'll listen to this.
But, you build rockets and, electric cars, and that's about as specific as you can get without saying what he's actually done. That's pretty good.
It's amazing, isn't it? And this line, there is a pioneer spirit in you.
Okay. Yeah.
You think?
There you go. Wow.
So in this lifetime, as you said, Xavier, it is very important to so again, all these things we play with. I mean, that's how I see it, right? I see the material as all these things we play with, all these things that come towards me that give me the opportunity to develop a better relationship with myself and a better relationship with the world and with others. That everything comes towards me because you don't know who you are until you meet someone.
Yeah.
Until you encounter that experience, you don't know who you are. You think you're one person, and then something happens, and you go, "Oh, I didn't realize I was capable of that." Right. So in this lifetime for him, he's definitely has that leadership. He's definitely been at the forefront of a lot of amazing things, and that's where the challenge will be. The challenge isn't in the rise up. The challenge is now I have power, I have money, I have influence. How am I using it? What am I doing with it?
Yeah.
And I hate to say, well, do I hate to say this? I'm not sure. I don't really like to be don't feel it's necessary to put my opinion out there because there's just the one thing the world has too much of at the moment is opinion.
I have that opinion.
But let me say this with leadership and Elon and what he's doing and what he's done, right? So for him, it's going to be very important with that 19-1. There's a lifetime where he already held a lot of power and he abused it and misused it, and didn't do right. Okay. In this lifetime, it's very important for him to use that power and influence to do the right thing. And if we talk about Tesla, something I've only learned very recently, similar to mobile phones, and this I'm sort of passionate about this, but don't really only talk about it with my son, which is that we, even in the spiritual wellness sphere, we're all big on this truth thing. We're all big on this, help others and, this carry on, which to me, when you hear about things going on in the world and the fact that it doesn't touch any of us and none of us are talking about it, we all talk about this other stuff, personal, material, business stuff. We don't talk about mobile phones and Tesla. How are these cars created? How are these mobile phones made? So with Tesla, we all by 2030, we'll all be driving Teslas. Do we know where that's coming from? Do we know that there are children working in the Amazon to take out of the ground this stuff that is making these cars that we think, we don't even know for sure that it's going to improve the environment. Yeah. But even if it did, how many lives are being lost? Have we given up our mobile phones? Are we giving up the Tesla car? Me, myself, completely misguided. Like if I didn't have my son who's very into all this stuff. Yeah. I'm always saying, calm down, don't worry about it. He's very, he should be on a platform, that kid. And I found this out and it broke my heart. Yeah. So, so I say to Elon that if he's involved in this and he would know this, then that's really irresponsible.
Yeah, he needs to learn to do the right thing and figure out.
On a soul level, no one's going to give a shit. On a soul level, if you believe in that, and maybe he doesn't, but on a soul level, I believe that he will have achieved nothing at all if he leaves this lifetime and doesn't right some of those injustices. I mean, that's just not humane.
I see it as like, balancing out if he really believes that it's going to do good in the long term. You've got to break a few eggs and that sounds horrible, to make an omelette kind of thing. You might think of it, you might weigh it up in some other way for all of humanity or something.
Well, what he could do, Xavier, exactly. Well, he's a very wealthy man. So why aren't these, if that's how, I don't like all these things coming out of the earth, but let's say if that's the only way to make this, which, is going to help that, then why aren't we, looking after the people that are working in that field? Why are they children? Why aren't they being paid? I think they get a cent a day or something. I mean,
there's but there is slavery around the world.
Exactly.
We know that, not just Elon Musk. and we still have mobile phones. I'm still staring
Exactly.
at the screen.
And what are those kids
and how
like
noble of
with
us to
numbers?
share healings with people. That's very noble and very spiritual and well done. But we also know about slavery, and we support it by keeping up with technology.
Shopping at
But,
Tim.
and it's
Yes.
hard because what
Yes.
do? You give Elon Musk the responsibility to deal with a slavery issue, which is somewhere where he has
no, but just given
no
his
power.
given that 19-1, right? I feel with that 19-1, this it may well be that he's just acting out exactly what happened last time.
Right.
That there would be some kind of, and I wouldn't be surprised. This year for him is a personal year, 14-5. So my instinct with that, because 14-5, 5 is all about change, sometimes necessary change, but 14-5 can sometimes make change that you don't want to make yourself. The universe might come along and make it for you. So I just had that feeling when I thought, 14-5. I thought, I wonder if there'll be some kind of calamity for him this year, some kind of thing.
That kind of goes back to what Michael was asking before about how don't your numbers stay the same, and you're saying this year for a personal year for him is a 14-5.
Oh no, every year. Oh yeah, no, not your life cycles. No, your personality. Yeah, your personality, because that comes out of your birth, your name at birth. And then, as I said, any name changes, get married. We can also look at that and see what did you bring in when your name changed. Like I remember working with a chick. And when she got married, she brought in more 1 energy. And for her, it was great because she didn't have enough before. Right. So marriage actually,
because of you
changed.
Like,
that's right, because we did your chart. Yeah.
And Daniel,
exactly right. So you can actually bring in, yes. So we'll look at that. But no, Mick, your life cycles based on your you've got your life path around midlife. Maturity number, we say 35-40, a new energy kicks in. That's your maturity number, but these numbers don't change, but a new energy comes in. And every year, then there's the 4 seasons of your life. So we work out your pinnacle cycles. There's the cycle that governs you in childhood, and then you have 3 other cycles. And again, what the cycles show us is during that particular time frame. So the first pinnacle and the last are the longest, and there's 2 in between that are 9 years. Almost had a little blank there. 9 years. And again, I would look at that and go, like I just did with Elon, oh gee, he's coming into, and every year there's a new cycle. So every year again, and when I do your profile, I'll be looking at all of that that's relative to now, how what's coming up for you. How are you going to manage that based on your attributes, which I get out of your full name at birth? So, yeah, with Elon, I'm like, oh, change is coming. Usually, I wouldn't read a 14-5 into a personal year, but I kind of sometimes do. Wow. For example, my 14-5 year, my mum died. Suddenly, a big change in my life that just took me in a completely new direction. Yeah. So that's what your cycles. In my my last 9 year, I was way well along with my practice of numerology. And so I was like, I knew the energy supported completion and surrender. And so I purposefully, like you with the hypnosis, I purposefully took that on board. Obviously, mindset, put some words around that, some pictures around that, some goals around that. And, knew that if I could give up smoking, I would do it that year. And honestly, I started smoking. I started doing all my NLP stuff. And somewhere between then and 3 months, I was like, when was the last time I had a cigarette?
Right.
I don't know what day I gave up.
Amazing.
And not only did I give up, it was like I'd never, ever smoked.
You no longer felt like smoking. There's a difference to
the desire. Everything went away. So that's the beauty of knowing your cycles, that you can go, okay. And usually, what is also so interesting and compelling is that when an individual tells me what they want out of a year, my head actually goes, I wonder if they're in A. And when I do their profile, they will be in the energy of that number and everything about how they're feeling and leaning towards. Oh, I feel like renovating my home. I feel like I need to get some more structure and foundation, better structure and foundation. They'll be in a 4. They'll be in some energy.
This is
4.
amazing. This is where, and maybe it's got to do with the language of numbers. because you're talking the language of numbers, and mathematicians talk the language of numbers, but it can be quite intuitive for mathematicians sometimes, is because they're seeing the cycles. They're not just seeing the math. They're understanding the math in cycles. So when problems come in front of them, they solve them really quickly. And someone says they're a genius. And it's like, well, but the genius is that they're understanding the patterns in the numbers, that they don't have to look at the numbers. Which makes me think as well, you're talking about cycles and patterns. Is there a big relation between astronomy and numerology then, based on the cycle patterns of the planet, our solar system, time, as well as numerology? Like, are they interconnected, the cycles that we have as a planet, as well as people?
I actually always put astronomy together with astrology.
Right. Yep.
And definitely. What I have done, I haven't really looked at cycles and compared, but what I have done is in my early days, I also saw how all of the numbers related to the planets.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Okay.
And then of course I've also done hand analysis. So even with their hands, right? That finger is known as the Saturn finger. Well, right. Sorry.
Not that.
I didn't even realize.
Just everyone behind me. Yeah, gotcha. Saturn fingers. So when you overtake someone, Saturn fingers. That's what you call
Saturn, baby.
Gotcha.
Fingers.
So that's actually Saturn, and so in astrology, Saturn is like the emperor in tarot. Okay. All about the judicial. Like I said before, the right way to do things. It's all about not just rules and regulations, but ethics, ethics and code of conduct and integrity and, and doing the right thing. And in numerology, that's the number 4. So, Jupiter, that's the Jupiter finger in hand analysis. That's Jupiter. Jupiter is that rebellious and independent, correlates with the number 1 in numerology. So I did do that years ago. I saw how Mars is very passionate, like the number 3 in numerology. And then of course that's Apollo, in hand analysis. So all of these things, what I loved, I didn't have time to study all of them, but what I loved about all of them is it doesn't matter which of those intuitive arts or insightful arts, metaphysical arts you study, they all correlate. And when I know in my own profile, I've got a lot of I'm equally balanced with, I've got a hidden passion 5. Actually, I've got the same hidden passion number as Elon.
Oh, of course.
Love it. And so hidden passion 5 is that, multitasker, loves to fly by the seat of her pants, loves challenge and change. And, they can act quick and learn quick. But I've also got the practical numbers. I've got 4s and 8s, and in my astrology, I'm actually balanced. I've got I'm balanced in that energy that's out and the energy that's in. So, which not a lot of people think that about me. They all think, oh, you're so, you're just a really outward. Actually, no, I'm both. I can be out, but I'm very in. I love my own space, and so that is an interesting kind of thing about all these different things. If you get it all done, get your astrology done, your numerology done, go and you will actually see, even in Chinese astrology, you will see
and seeing a psychic. I've had plenty of people when I've told them things, they've gone, that's funny, because that's what I got told in my numerology chart or my feng shui chart. It's all
it's all interrelated.
So many times in this podcast.
Yeah. Exciting. And then I want to share this with you because we have the karmic debt numbers, which are those certain combinations. But
I was going to ask you, you can't just skip over the whole karmic debt.
No.
Where the hell do you get those numbers? But I'll let you finish this, and then we have to get into the karmic debt before we wrap this thing up.
Beautiful. Because what I was going to say is I've got a little prompt saying play music. It's not music, it's just my lawnmower guy. So when I work out your full name at birth and I allocate, I count those numbers and I put them in the little boxes. If I have a little box that is 0, meaning that you don't have that number in your full name at birth, then it's a karmic lesson. It's called lesson because it's less severe as the karmic debt, but it also has a little story, and it can also give me some insight into why you struggle, where you struggle, and then what do you need to do to overcome that. And who would have thought that actually Elon has 0 8s in his kit? I'm going to say 0 8s in his kit because he seems to me to be a very wealthy man. And that 8 is all about 8 is the material and the money and the business, right? But it's also about balance between spiritual and material.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, right. So I wanted to just again read this out from the from his that's where his maturity. He's got the birth date of 1. He's got the personality 19-1, but he also had, I knew he had another 1. His maturity number is 1. Now, when a person, which indicates to me, I hark back to what I said before, that because the 1 shows up again in his later life, I feel at that soul level, it is imperative and important that he masters the art of leadership. And leadership is not, a great leader fights for bigger causes than themselves. A great leader doesn't lead by bullying and bossing. It's not about telling everybody what to do. A leader, you guys would know there's so much more to what makes a great leader. And I feel like at a soul level, that's something that he really needs to master in this lifetime.
Wow.
Otherwise, as Xavier said, comes back and does it again. Now, this is interesting. So he has a karmic lesson with 7. Okay. So what a lot of us do, though, because we haven't and we say the reason for this, we say that, look, we've had many lifetimes of not developing spiritually, where it has been all about technology and materialism. So a lot of us do actually have, a 0 in that area of our profile. But at the same time, it can also give insight into even though he has that life path 7, it's what he's come to do, to learn, to experience, he may still struggle to access that spiritual within himself. His second challenge is also an 8. Sorry, I'm going to jump to the challenge because I've just come to it in the report. And it says, Elon, you risk making money and power the main priority in your life. Your desire for financial wealth threatens to obscure your other human characteristics and spiritual well-being. That's his second challenge number. This challenge causes financial concerns to overwhelm all other needs and influences everything you do. You risk the fate of Midas, turning everything into gold, yet isolating yourself from other parts of life. And we know that that's true.
That's to know for yourself, so you can try to keep it top of mind if you can.
Exactly. And we know this. We know that although he is reaching those great heights with the money, the material, the business acumen, that, he has lots of children. I'm not sure that he's a father as such. He might be a dad, but is he fathering? And we know that, he's had, 3 or 4 marriages.
Sure.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. So I thought that was interesting that, and look, and that's life, isn't it? You can't, it's hard to do everything. It's hard to keep up with everything.
Yeah. I'm
not too successful here finding that. So anyway, that doesn't matter. I'm just going to go to with that 0 8. So the 0 8 is in a previous lifetime, the individual accumulated a lot of wealth. However, because it's all about how we manage these things. None of these things is good, bad, or otherwise. It's all about how we manage these things. We're human beings living spiritual beings living a human incarnation. We're allowed to be successful and rich and enjoy the spoils that are here to enjoy. That's not an issue. It's how we manage that. So with that number 8, it means in a previous lifetime, again, misused and abused power and money. So in this lifetime, it's a recurring theme. And again, if we look at what little I know, but I know enough about his history to know that he has accumulated and lost a number of times.
Yeah.
You know, it hasn't been a smooth journey. So with number 8, him having the 0-8, all of those ones, the 19-1, all of these things come together, the 16-7, which really, to me, as a numerologist and a coach, counselor, healer, I would be suggesting to this individual that it's very important to have integrity and ethics and boundaries and balance. 8 is about balance between spirit and matter. If you don't have something worth accumulating all that wealth for that really changes the world in some good, great, wonderful way, then you're going to be too much with the material. It'll be the material for the sake of material, and at some stage the individual ends up feeling empty. But at the same, sorry, I'll just finish this thought because I'll forget. Sorry, I'll forget. But if it's too much with the spiritual, you know, and you're too much with I want to do good, I want to do great things, and you do it all for free, and that's not the way either, because you'll just end up you will actually end up going nowhere. If you're only developing the inner, you won't be able to take that and use that in any worthwhile, meaningful way in the world. So it's when you've got 8 strong in your profile, then you've chosen for yourself to come in and have that beautiful balance between spirit and matter, so that you can really do something great, and therefore the opportunities to accumulate that wealth come towards you. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for finishing that. And I think it's if you go the poverty, you can actually attach yourself to the poverty side of things, and then the being poor and not having stuff is your explanation of why you're such a spiritual great person. And that's just as bad as having money.
Exactly.
I hate to get biblical in these things, but there's a parable that Jesus said once, and it was that it's easier to get the camel through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. And I think the point of that is, and it was meant to be funny.
Yes.
And needle rhyme in the language he spoke. And it was kind of, there was the door to Jerusalem was called the needle, and so it's actually really hard to get so it's not even just talking about, so it's a joke. It was meant to make people laugh, but it's not saying that people with money don't get into heaven.
No.
And it's not even saying that heaven exists, really. Let's be honest. But what it's saying is, you know, if it's harder for someone with a lot of money to be able to go into that spiritual self, that spiritual higher bliss.
Exactly.
They're in the money. So I wonder, Elon or people that have got a lot of money, it's like the ultimate Buddha test, I guess. Like the Buddha was like the prince, right? That had everything and chose to walk off and was willing to die to find that, and he had everything. So is this like with people with a lot of money, they've got that, you know, it's the challenge. I'm going to see if I can get a camel through the eye of a needle.
Yeah. Absolutely, got massive goosebumps when you started talking, and I do have this argument with my son all the time, and we talk about how he walked away from it all. And my son, I mean, he's still in the early part of his journey, so he comes from where I came from, which is very much about the, you know, riches are bad. And but I've had that big journey, and that's what I know for sure. None of it's good or bad. Money is just a form of energy, and it's an exchange, and it's a constant exchange. And what happens is, unfortunately, because we are human, we sometimes forget that it's an exchange, and so it's just as simple as that. If it's constantly about one thing, then something else is left lacking. And so then I know that's what the universe does. The universe will find a way to right that imbalance. And with Elon, I do know that he does constantly have the cycle. Even when he bought, again, I'm just going to go on my son's knowledge here, but even when he bought Twitter, I don't get on Twitter, but even when he bought that, he overextended himself, and he bought it with all these other investors in mind to come on board. But there was a whole sort of, you know, little, I think he might have stuffed it up. And then I'll read this bit out to you. It's so interesting that it says here, the karmic lesson 8, Elon, you can attract a considerable amount of money and even be a good business person. Well, we know that he's very good. But you experience major up and downs in your financial affairs due largely to your lack of caution in handling your resources. So 8 is very much about how I handle my resources. Capable, competent, can get anything done, but how am I doing it? Why am I doing it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You are highly independent. All those ones. You do not want to be told how to do things. you have great problems with authority figures, which can be good, and then it can be a real issue.
Yeah.
This stems from a kind of know-it-all attitude, stubborn behavior that prevents you from knowing your limits. You will have to work at knowing how to handle money, and in all likelihood, you will attract enough of it, but it does have a tendency to slip through your fingers. And this karmic lesson forces you to learn your limitations and the limitations of your resources. Learn to be efficient. And see, sometimes too, Mick, as you just said before, right? Sometimes too, we think we're invincible when we're younger, right? So these things will become more and more important as he gets older, because eventually what you're selling, no one's buying. And it's at that point that you'll then be left with, well, who have you created in the meantime? Who have you created in the meantime? Who have you become in the meantime? Can you live with yourself, you know? Yeah. And I love that. Exactly. So it's just not about that. It's absolutely about balance. And I love how DeMartini puts it. Spirit without matter is motionless. Spirit without matter is motionless. And matter without spirit becomes expressionless.
Yeah.
You need the both. You need the both. Mandela, even Mother Teresa, although I haven't heard great stuff about her in later years, but they might have been in there doing the good work, but they had people around them collecting the money. Somebody has to be feeling that fire.
Of course.
Yeah. Any other questions? Actually, I might even end with saying this. You know, his last pinnacle is the number 6. Remember I said before about life cycles. So it's very interesting with the number 6 when we talk about the fact that in building all these other things, his personal relationships have certainly, he struggled. He struggled with he struggles in that area. So the number 6 is all about responsibility in family. The number 6 is relationships. It's intimacy and connection, that deep connection in relationships. So it does say commitment in relationships and your work is fundamental to your happiness, because it does have a tendency to wander from person to person, job to job, making depth of relationship or deep expertise difficult. So that'll also be something, as you said, Xavier, that, there might be some things going on. There might be some relationships around him that may not be all they seem. So I think in his last, in that last cycle with that 6, that he'll have more opportunity perhaps to grow in that particular area of his life. Maybe that's when he kind of finds that person, makes that deeper commitment, and experiences himself in a whole new way, romantically and in terms of relationships. Interesting session.
This has been so much fun. I love that we've used poor Elon Musk.
We have
his blessing to really demonstrate how the numbers work. I'm sure he's fine with it. How the numbers. He might buy Mick and the Psychic. You never know.
You never know.
So it's good to see how the numbers work and how they interact, and how it's not just a number that just says this is you. It explains a path for you to be able to work through. So we appreciate your time so much.
Thank you.
Fascinating. And I love, and my biggest takeaway from that, Michelle, and I don't remember if I said this in the season 1, is I love that if you don't have to go, like, maybe you're going to go on dating with somebody, or you got a close friend, or you want to learn to understand someone, not even just yourself, but it helps you have compassion for other people, knowing that they're on a path and there's a journey, and that might be why they are the way they are. Even though they're going to learn and grow from it, but like, give them a break. Like, we all have different stories and different numbers. We don't all have the same reasons for being here, and
that's
it's personality of why we are a certain way.
Yes, so that's it. Exactly what I love about it. Yes.
So our wellnessschool.org, I believe, is where you can get your courses. You've got like numerology readings, master classes, all sorts of different stuff, spiritual psychology, coaching, all sorts of
psychic.
Beautiful. We're growing, and of course,
optimistic Xavier's got.
We've got Xavier in there, exactly. Optimistic psychic development. We've so we're building. We're at the the start of that, but all there. And I did have a masterclass for tomorrow night, but that's going to be deferred to next week. And I think the podcast comes out on
This
Oh,
Friday.
yeah.
Friday,
So
yes. The
as
masterclasses
you
are
listen,
Jump
yeah,
on.
beautiful. Well, it's a great place to start. I think we're covering, I'm going to do life path, hidden passion, challenge numbers, and a little bit of the key areas, just to give everyone that little bit of beautiful intro, but also something, a lot of something to take away, so that you understand, as Xavier said, it's about understanding yourself better and then understanding others. And there's such liberation, there's such freedom in that, such freedom.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I
Thank
like
you,
that
guys.
someone could go on a date and then decide to check out their partner's maturity.
My girlfriends do that all the time.
So
Michelle is born on the
It's the same. I get asked to flip cards and people steer the deck. I'm like, yeah, I'll tell you if he's worth your time.
you just get a text message. Yep, sleep with him, don't marry him. Please. Okay. Cool.
Yes. What's that game? Sleep with, and there's that game.
Murder, marry.
Yeah, that's right. No, murder him, sleep with him, marry him.
Or do all three. I don't know why you can't do all three.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a Black Widow spider.
Oh, how funny.
Well, thank you very much, Michelle.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Scotty. That's it for another episode. Thanks to our sponsor, Subtle Energy Sciences. Click the link in the show notes to access their full product range of quantum healing technology.
And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. We're so grateful for your contribution to keep this podcast going.
If you'd like to join our Patreon, you can receive bonus full episodes, early release, and monthly readings and meditations.
We love to hear from you, so please comment on our YouTube channel or email us at mickandthepsychic@gmail.com.
I'm a certified hypnotherapist and timeline regression therapist. If you wish to contact me to explore the source of an issue you're facing, just book a session at hearnhypnosis.com and include the promo code MATP for 10% off. You can contact me on Insta and Facebook at hearnhypnosis.
Check out my website at optimisticxavier.com.au if you feel you'd like to connect with me as a psychic medium, spiritual mentor, or intuitive coach. Include the promo code MATP for 10% discount. You can also find me on Insta, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
We look forward to connecting with you again next time as we attempt to leave no stone unturned.
Bye.
All right, cool. I reckon that should be okay.